forward for you.
That's all right. That's fine.
All right, so why Kansas? I asked every recruit I've talked to over the past 2 days. Started with the same question: why Kansas?
Well, the first thing is, and probably some of the recruits probably said the same thing. The coaching staff, Charlie. You know, I've known him for a long time. Coached against him many times. He's from New Jersey, and I'm from Connecticut. I know a lot of people that are real close to him in New Jersey that are friends of mine. That was probably the initial thing. You know, I felt that, you know, I had a great deal of respect for him and his ability to coach. And if I'm going to work, you know, in the same context with him, I wanted it to be a guy, if I did it, that I've had a lot of confidence in, and I have a lot of confidence in him. I think the other thing, when I came over here and looked at the place, there's something special here in my mind. You know, this facility, the support of the donors for the University of Kansas, you know, that sold me right away as soon as I got over here. The people of this community, I mean, really strong. Those things, I think if we get people here on campus, recruits, we're going to have a great opportunity we're going to be in the final conversation, let me put it that way, on a lot of kids. And so that was a factor, plus the fact that 4 years ago they were one of the better teams in the country. And then you add the fact that the first question I asked Coach Weiss was what the quarterback situation was, because I didn't have one in my years in Dallas as a head coach. I felt really comfortable with the guys we had coming in.
What about college? I mean, obviously the bulk of your experience has come from the NFL. Why come back to college?
Well, you know, this is my 42nd year of coaching, and when I look back, some of the best years I ever had were on the college level. The University of Miami, winning a national championship. You know, those kind of things have always been in the back of my mind because I enjoy young people. They breed enthusiasm. They're hungry. I always like the guys, the rookies and the second-year guys and the free agents that have come into the NFL, because those guys want to learn. They're excited about what they're about to undertake, and you know, that was an issue. That was big with me. I've got a 20-year-old son that I'm still coaching on life. So, you know, the teaching part and the coaching part is very important to me. That's one of the reasons when I got fired as a head coach in Dallas, I was able to go back and coach, you know, coordinate and coach the secondary, because a lot of people say, well, how can you do that? Well, my ego is not, that's not what it's all about. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy being in my unit, having my room. So, you know, that's really the reason that I'm excited about the challenge, and it'll keep me young for a lot more years.
Most of the big question I get a lot is, what kind of defense are you guys going to run? And talking to a lot of the recruits, it seems like I've heard both sides of it. I heard some guys like to play one side, when some guys like to play the other. A lot of guys say they could do both. I mean, was that strategic? I mean, is that the idea? I mean, a lot of what I'm getting here is putting the players in the best position. I mean, is part of widening your net as far as what players can do of this process?
That's exactly right. That's right. And then once we get established who we are, then we'll be able to recruit to that. But this year, I wanted to make sure here's the thing. We want to be competitive right away, because I think that's how you recruit. Now, you can say whatever you want. This guy's got 3 Super Bowl rings. This guy's got something else. Really, when it comes down to it, winning sells the program from the very beginning. You're going to have a bigger pool of good players to look at that are looking at you. So we want to be competitive as soon as possible. Well, the only way you can do that is for me to walk in and slap a playbook down and say, here's what we're running. You know, that's not the way to do it, because you don't know what players, what they can do. And that's really going to dictate a lot of what we do this first year. And one of the advantages I have, I've been in the 4-3 and the 3-4. You know, so that's not an issue. It's just what's going to give us the best opportunity to be successful as quickly as possible and go from there.
Do you have a preference?
Not really. I mean, you know, my biggest background was with the 4-3, and I feel really comfortable with that. And I think some of that fits the league to a certain extent, because, you know, your linebackers are smaller, faster guys, and you have to be able to play in space in this league, you know, in the Big 12. It's all spread offense, big, open sets and options and quarterback keeps and all that stuff. You've got to be able to run on defense. So speed is a major issue with us, and that lends itself a little bit to the 3-4, but to the 4-3. But there are times when you want to use the 3-4 because it's a little bit more. They don't know if your linebacker outside is rushing or dropping. It lends itself to a little bit more disguise. So there's pluses and minuses with both of them. And we'll go with the one that we feel the most comfortable with, giving us a chance to get going.
What about, are there any specific players you're excited to get a look at on the field? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've looked at a lot of film and tape, met with a lot of guys and seen guys in shorts.
I'm very happy. You're talking about recruits now, the young guys?
Yes.
I'm very happy with this group. I mean, I think we've gotten some holes filled. I think the biggest thing is one of our biggest needs was in the defensive line and tackle. And I'm excited to see these JC kids and this one high school kid that we got. They're guys that look good on film. So I can't wait to get them out there. And the other area, of course, is the guys I'm going to be coaching, those 3 DBs we signed. 2 kids from Texas and a kid from California. Those are the areas that I'm excited about. And the one guy that I'm probably the most excited about at this point, and the problem is, there'll be some of those 5-star recruits that don't make it where they go. That's how it is. They're 5-star recruits now, but what do they do when they get there? It's 2 different things. So you don't know ever for sure what's going to happen. But this Skylar Miles kid from Florida, he's got the mentality, the instincts, the ability to run and hit that you're looking for in a middle backer, and that's one of your most important positions on the football field because he's involved in both the front and the coverage, and he basically controls a lot of the stuff.
Also seems like I talked to him last night, and you get the feeling he's a very deep thinker. And he understands the game and what his role in it, and understands how he plays and what he does well and what he doesn't do well.
That's exactly.
I mean, he seems like a guy that could be a leader.
Absolutely.
Can you put that kind of faith in a kid that's a freshman yet? I mean, obviously you probably can't say that yet. But.
No, I can't. But I will say this: when I've talked to him, I've said, look, the faster you show up and show what you can do, the faster you will be a leader. That will come by itself, and it doesn't have to be a senior. It can be a freshman. So he's the type of mentality. That's why that position is so important to me, because he's got to be really the quarterback of the defense in a lot of ways.
What about obviously you're pretty well regarded in as far as what you can do with the defensive back. You have a defensive backs coach.
Right.
Is it difficult to a certain degree to have to take a step back and allow some of the other coaches to kind of take on other responsibilities when you know very well that you'd like to be in there and you can do it well?
Well, I'm going to be doing a certain amount of it. I mean, I'm not, I'm actually, my title is defensive coordinator secondary, so I guess I'm going to be doing a lot of it. But I've really been impressed with Clint Bowen. I can tell you that right now. The guy's called defenses in this league. So, to me, we've talked technique. We've had a chance to visit a lot about it. He's very serious about what he does. He's going to be splitting a little duties with the special teams, and the special teams were outstanding when he was here the first time or the last time. So it's not going to be difficult because I feel like I've got to be involved a little bit and see what's going on in front, what's going on up front during practice and that kind of thing. So I'm actually happy that we've got guys that I feel comfortable with that can handle a certain amount of it.
Okay, last question, kind of a goofy one. You've been underneath, you've had the light shined on you. I think Hard Knocks, right? You were on,
twice.
Yeah, exactly. How much?
Coach, what's his assistant?
Exactly. How much of a benefit? You talk about the Floridas and Tennessees and some of the bigger programs and really even Kansas. Got really under the spotlight. I mean, how much of a benefit is it kind of floating under the radar to a certain degree? I mean, does that help you at all, or does that give you more of a kind of let you take a bigger breath, so to speak? Does that make a difference at all?
I don't think. To me, I've always been one to think that the more people that are watching you, the better you play. So to me, that was not an issue. that is not an issue. I think the biggest thing is I want to be the 19, what was it, 4 years ago that they were in the Orange Bowl? That's where I want to be. And I hope everybody in the country is watching Kansas at that time. That's where I want to be. And I think the guys play better when they're in that situation. I think Hard Knocks in some ways was a real distraction when that was done with the Cowboys, especially since it was my last year as a head coach. That was when they did it. And it was an important year for me, and I think it hurt us a little bit. But at the same time, some of the guys, we got better practices out of many of the guys just because the cameras were on them at the time. So I think you have to learn how to handle that. One of the things we're going to be talking to these guys about is we're going to be trying to teach them what it's like to be in the spotlight. And that's something that they have to learn.